What I would like to do at this time is ask each candidate, they have 30 seconds to state why. Why are you running for mayor, Mr. Benson?
I'm running for mayor because there's a lot of suffering going on in the city that doesn't have to happen. Most of the suffering that goes on in the city is economic in basis. However, the economic aspect can be corrected if we understood as a people how powerful we were. Good economics follows good politics. So I'm running to engage our people in the city of Camden to be more political. Let's say, for example, there's a bolt of lightning and we do win. Our mayorship looks like the people. We're going to invite the people to solve the people's problems. Right now, City Hall is a very hostile atmosphere. That doesn't have to be. So I'm running to reduce the suffering, increase the knowledge. I'm running because God has made me successful on individual levels. I have a lot of mentors that are doing quite well. And we realized and we figured, okay, if we're able to transform a small group of people, maybe when we have scale, the power of the mayor, the power of the people coming together, we can transform the entire city. And Camden can be an example to the rest of the cities nationwide. So that's the essential reason why I'm running.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Taylor?
Good afternoon, good evening. I'm running for the mayor's seat simply because Camden needs new leadership. Camden needs leadership. Someone is going to take control of this city. Get the people in the city behind them. Let the people in the city know you now have someone who's going to fight for you, talk for you, and go to City Hall, go to Trenton, wherever it needs to be done. We have a person now that's going to do it for us. That would be me. That's why I'm running for the mayor's seat.
Thank you. Thank you. So we have a few questions here. I will start with a few. Each candidate will have the opportunity to answer these questions. As mayor, how will you bring jobs for Camden residents without giving out tax breaks to the corporations?
Okay, first of all, I'd like to answer that question.
If I can just let Mr. Taylor, because you went first. Mr. Taylor, can you answer that?
Yeah.
We're gonna go back and forth.
All right, well, partnership is one of the most successful things that we could possibly do. Partnership with different companies, different organizations to bring jobs into the city. And what we have in the city is coming in as tax exempt. We need to go to them and sit down and see if we can get them to now bring jobs in our communities.
Thank you. Mr. Benson?
Well, first, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank everybody for coming. I apologize for not thanking at the head. It means a lot to me that you would take 2 minutes out of your day to hear what we would have to say. It means a lot to me that you care about your community this much that you would involve yourself, and being here, you are involved. So thank you for that. Well, there's a couple of strategies. Some of them are actually articulated around in this pamphlet, very, very easy. But one thing, there's this thing called the CRA, Community Investment Act, where you take 1% of the monies that are going through the banks. I don't know what those dollars are. They could be anywhere from as small as $100,000 a month to $1 million a month. Maybe Brother Kelly Francis would know specifically. But that CRA money has not been, to my knowledge, go into the community. That money can be used to start businesses. That's one line. The other is you have about 20 different businesses coming in getting $1 billion worth of tax breaks, and not a single person gave a single requirement that they have jobs or job development or job training for the people in the city of Camden. I really don't think they would have a problem with that. I really think they're probably surprised. What our administration would do would go to each one of those companies individually and ask them within 30 days to give us a proposal for what they plan on doing. And we let them know we've been very, very generous to them, and we expect their proposal to be very, very generous to our people. I believe those two streams right there would be close to $1 million a month that we could create jobs, create businesses, and we'd also advocate. We'd have an office in our office, and advocacy for jobs that would go out all around the county and ask people to hire Camden. We would orient the people so the employers would know they have got a good employee, and the employees that know they have a good fit. So with those 3 items, the advocacy office, the CRA, and just approaching the people that are coming here with the tax breaks, I think we can get everybody in the city that wants a good job. To me, a good job starts at $15 an hour. Anything less is an insult. I believe for a fact we would be able to get everybody in this city that wants a good job through those 3 strategies. And there's one more which I think I should hold back and talk about later, but there's another very, very powerful strategy that we can talk about offline. But we do have strategies to get the entire city employed. Like I said, my reason for running was the suffering, and the suffering is generally economic, and it disgusts me because those economics are just from sheer greed. They're not because they don't, the resources are not there. They're very much there. Camden is not a poor city. So we can get the jobs going really very, very well, very, very easily.
So the next question, this goes to you, Mr. Benson.
Mm-hmm.
How you as mayor will stop all the drug loitering that is coming to Camden? How will you stop it?
Well, first of all, I'm loving these questions because they're all the questions that I've been thinking about. First of all, I'm not coming to this is not my first rodeo. Most of the people that I've worked with were basically on corners and doing things they had to do, not because they were bad people, but they were doing to survive. If I know 100 drug dealers, 90 of them would not be there if they had good options. The alpha and the omega of my running is that we know how to give good options to our people. Not only good options in terms of here's a job, but there's a way of thinking that brings life, and there's a way of thinking that brings death. What we have been blessed to be able to do, we know how to give out life thinking in a way that people receive it, in a way that's respectful, and in a way that works. Our candidacy is really that I, in my heart of hearts, think that Camden is a very, very special city for 100 reasons. Again, I'll do that offline, but it's on my website, keithbenson.com. Some of the reasons why I think Camden is so special. No, some of the reasons I know Camden is so special. So I don't think that would be a problem because we've already been doing it. As mayor, we just be able to do it to scale for the entire city as opposed to just 20 or 30 here and there. We'd be able to do it for the entire city. So that's not a problem. We're not criminal-minded people. We want to do right. We just need support. It bothers me that City Hall not only does not support, but doesn't even seem to care. So when we get there, you'll have not only support, but care and people on a mission. So I don't think that'd be a problem at all. That's positive.
Thank you. Mr. Taylor?
Yes, one of the ways to stop it, gainful employment. If these young men, young women out there on the corners, they're working, won't be on the corners. Outside of that, we need activities. If we get activities brought into our city and in our communities, that's another way to get the young men and women off the corners. So these 2 things right there will eliminate a whole bunch of drugs and different activities that goes on the corner.
Thank you. It's one of my favorites. This is a section that I'm a part of. What does the future look like for public educators in Camden look like if you were mayor? What would the public education system look like? Mr. Taylor?
I fight for public schools. Public schools have put out some of the most talented people in the United States. Why all of a sudden we need charter schools? Our school system, pretty good school system, turned out pretty good people. I will fight to keep public schools there. I understand what's here already as far as the charter schools. It's probably not too much we can do with that. But I am going to fight to keep the public schools in our city and make it work.
Thank you. Mr. Benson?
Well, I'm a tad biased. My son is not only a public school teacher, but he's the CEA president. My mother was a public school teacher, and she afforded me the life that I lived. She afforded me the thinking that I have. My sister's a public school teacher. Everybody in my family is public school teachers. So what I would do is I would help the public schools wherever they needed help. There are organizations like the Unity Community Center, Rob Dickerson, who does a remarkable job right up the street. It is a disgrace, and really in large measure had me getting back into the city. When I saw that the public schools and the administration did not support organizations like Unity Community Center or in East Camden, Mayoral, CERN, there are a lot of wonderful, wonderful programs already here. that if they were integrated into public schools, I'm telling you for a fact, they would outperform suburban schools. But it galls me to no end to know that these people are out here. The Board of Education knows about it. Let's be 100% real. There are issues that you have to deal with in the public schools that normal school systems do not have to deal with. So what? You bring in wraparound services and you deal with them and you keep things moving. But they don't do that because they want them to be dysfunctional, because they want to close them. We would stop that because we would give all help. As a matter of fact, I see people in here that could interface with the public school youth and have the public school youth rise up and do amazing things. So just through the resources that we already have, we don't have to invent anything. Just employing the people that are already here, we could make a huge difference in public school, and they compete with any school in the nation. And again, we've done it, so we're not talking from theory, we're talking from fact, we're just talking about going to scale with what we've already done.
Thank you. This is a very interesting question. How will you try or intend to unite the Black and Spanish communities? Mr. Benson?
Oh my God. Well, my son is married to a Spanish woman. Some of my best friends are Spanish. I really think that any disagreement we might have comes from a lack of understanding. Quite frankly, if Puerto Rico didn't show us anything, it showed us what we have in common. I would stress to all my Puerto Rican brothers and sisters, who I think is redundant, because I think it's just a matter of where the boat stopped when he came out of Africa. You know, I would remind us of the similarities, and I would encourage them not to allow ourselves to be divided, because it only weakens us. And for the most part, we are already united. But what happens is when we have any disagreement, like any family members will have, it's exacerbated in the media to try to enhance this division and make the division larger than what it is. So through dialogue and through working together and through doing projects together and through our shared history, I think we could bring that divide together, which I don't really think is as big as people try to make it in the first place.
Thank you. This is a very interesting question. Very, very interesting.
So Mr. Taylor, get the answer to the other one?
So, Frank Moran.
Wait.
Oh,
Mr.
I'm
Taylor.
so sorry.
That's okay.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor.
All right. That's real simple, because we all here together. We all breathe the same air. We all speak the same language. We all suffering the same suffering. All we gotta do is communicate with one another. It's a real simple fix. Just communicate. That's all we gotta do. That's it.
Thank you. I apologize. This question is, as I stated, is very interesting. Frank Moran won the primary and has raised tens of thousands of dollars. With low turnout and low name recognition for you as candidates, what is your strategy to win? Mr. Taylor.
I'm gonna do exactly what I'm doing. I'm knocking on doors every day, talking to people every day. And by the time November 7th comes, there won't be too many people in the city that doesn't know the name of Jerome Taylor.
Thank you. Mr. Benson?
Okay. My strategy on the overview is we have to convince our people that politics to us is a little bit different than politics to the majority population. Regardless of who's electing the majority population, they're not going to have police officers killing them on camera and then getting off and getting $1 million GoFundMe bonus. Regardless of who is elected, the majority is not going to have 1/3 of their men, 16 to 36, incarcerated. So they can take politics as, let me see who entertains me the most and I'll decide. Our people, beloved, if we don't start looking at politics like a religion, and just in point of fact, the first command God gave man, Genesis 1:28, was multiply and be fruitful, which we could ignore because animals do that. And then he said, and subdue the land. So that means the very first command that God gave man in the Bible was subdue the land. That is an admonition to politics. Because there's no way you can subdue the land in this society without being political. So what I have here, I have 100 phone numbers of 100 leaders who are my friends. The only way we win is if my friends, and all of them are leaders as a matter of fact, like Brother Amir Khan. If my friends call 100 of their friends, 100 times 100 is 10,000, and we win this, and this ridiculous politic that we have to suffer under, because again, we only suffer because of greed. The resources are there for our people to do well and to do very well and to flourish. So it hurts me to my core, to my heart, and to my mind that we are not. So, if we don't take politics like a religion, and our friends communicate, not who has the best rah-rah campaign, who has balloons and who's giving fish fries, but we talk to, the Underground Railroad. I'm hoping that my Underground Railroad works. I'm calling them to work. I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna be quiet. I've gotten great things out of young men by challenging them highly. So we got people in 7 years to go from street corners to the White House, from street corners to Ivy League College, from street corners to Wall Street. I'm calling my city out the same way. Listen, we will do this like a religion or we will perish. You'll see Camden High come down. You'll see another 6 murders the next month. You'll see poverty, good people that want to work, that have the initiative and the skills not working. But when we get serious and deal with politics like it's supposed to be and stop tripping on each other, we have the numbers to do what we want. And I believe in Camden. I believe Camden's going to do it. And you know what? I told my son, victory in life is controlling your emotions. I don't care if I get 1 vote. I will be humiliated for my people. This is serious to me.
So here I have 2 separate questions, one for Mr. Taylor and one for Mr. Benson. So, Mr. Benson, I'll ask you first and Mr. Taylor. Several questions. Mr. Benson, as mayor, how would you combat the unlawful off-road quads and the dirt bike riders in the city? Safe.
I like that question. For starters, I would do everything I could to either have a police force that is from the city, which would take care of half of it, and then whatever we're able to do legally in terms of making the police force a city, municipal Camden police force, and not a county occupying police force. I already spoke with people about hiring security people from the neighborhoods. The leaders who are in the neighborhoods right now may be leading in the wrong direction or maybe leading in the right direction, but the leaders in the community right now, again, we would employ them to be the sergeant at arms of the community. And if they ever needed backup, we would get it to them. But I got a feeling if we hire the right ones, that would not be a problem. So we're gonna use all our resources to make sure, legal resources to make sure people follow the law and do what they're supposed to do. But I think by the fact that we're including our own family in it, it'll make it much more effective and much more effective in getting it done. So I think we can do that.
Thank you. Mr. Taylor, if elected mayor, what will be your first act as mayor and why?
My first act as mayor would definitely be going to each and every neighborhood in the city so people know who their mayor was. Because it's ridiculous that 4 to 8 years, the people in the city of Camden, as small as Camden is, some people don't know who the mayor is. So that would be number 1 on my bucket list, to let everybody know who your mayor is.
Okay. Good question here. Starting with you, Mr. Taylor. What can be done to help black businesses in the city not have to relocate to build?
Better business. They would have to conduct better business. Look at the areas that they're in, because that plays a good part and a big part. And just business have to run business a professional way. And that definitely helps out.
Thank you.
Yeah, we've thought about that thoroughly. First thing we would do, we would hire or take one of our attorneys, city attorneys on staff, and their job would literally be to just handle small business from resident owners. So they'll have the legal things taken care of. They won't have any legal fees nor legal complications, which is what hampers a lot. Second, we'll do the same thing with an accountant. We'll probably have to hire an outside accountant, but we'll have an attorney and accountant to do nothing but resident businesses gratis. Third, and I think this is a novel approach, the city ourselves will market these businesses. One of the biggest issues businesses have is letting people know they're there. So we will take it on. We'll have games, we'll have festivals, we'll have advertising campaigns, we'll have door to door, we'll have trucks riding around. It will make it a fun party for Camden residents to do business with Camden residents. Then we'll go outside once it's rolling, and we'll actually ask county people to come in and see what's going on in Camden. So we've thought about that thoroughly, and we're excited about being able to do that because, again, it doesn't take a lot of money, doesn't take a lot of effort, it just takes care. And we could boost our businesses up 1,000-fold in a couple of years, and we're looking forward to doing that. And if we get serious, if we really decide we don't like what we have, and everybody I speak to say that, I'm not trying to hear that, okay, I got to do a write-in ballot, now that's too much. To stop these murders, doing a write-in ballot is too much. For us to get employed, to do a write-in ballot is too much. For our kids to have first-class recreation, and for us to grow and do great things, a write-in ballot is too much? I don't believe that. Matter of fact, I'm actually intrigued by the fact, when I filled mine out today, and I felt like it was my own Declaration of Independence. It's like they can present us what they want to present us, but we the people get together and decide who we're going to put in. They don't tell us, we tell them. So no, a write-in ballot is a sign of defiance, it's a sign of manhood and womanhood, it's a sign of revolution, and it's a sign of being our own person. So let's do the write-in ballot and be happy about it, and tell your people to do a write-in ballot. It's not too much. Look at what we've gone through as a people. So our people will do write-in ballots, and we will do fine, and we will send the message across the entire nation. We're Camden.
Thank you. Think about this, Mr. Benson and Mr. Taylor. How will you engage and collaborate with the faith-based community in addressing the issues that plague family structures, young people, homelessness, and violence? Benson.
Well, my minister is in the house, and I'm happy to see him, and member of Kane Avenue for a long time. And if anybody knows me, I really believe that the faith base is the center of our sojourn, the center of our being in this nation. It has been the faith base that has caused us to have progress, and the faith base are our leaders. So that's going to be organic, and that's probably going to be, I would probably depend on the faith base maybe even more than the political, because that's where the people are, that's where we get the messages out, and we do plan on having a situation where we meet with the faith base regularly. When I say faith base, that means Christian, Muslim, other, just organizations of people that want to do better by people. That's what we do. So we're on the same mission, and we have resources, and hopefully we could use our resources to enhance what they're doing. So we're looking forward to that.
Thank you. Should I read the question or are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, great. Thank you.
The educating of some of our men, and have the men basically step up and do what they need to do in society. Right now, unfortunately, a lot of our men aren't doing what we need to do. If we get programs in place to educate some of the young men to now stand up and do what needs to be done in society, it needs to be done with family, a whole lot to be changed.
Okay, thank you. Very simple question. Mr. Taylor, as mayor, how would you help the returning citizens or future residents get back on their feet, those who have come back either from prison and or other disparities?
Second chance programs, re-entry programs. Fortunately, I have a brother who has 2 of those businesses in New York who's ready to come back here to the city if I'm elected mayor. So it would be great for me to become mayor because we already have that in place.
Benson?
Got to hit old cliche, the best social program in the world is a great job. Most of these brothers and sisters coming back into society, most of them are competent and probably would not have been incarcerated at all if they had solid employment. So going back to the original question with the CRA and with the jobs and the business development, we would make sure they had special attention, making sure they had a job, because we knew if they didn't, they're going to be a problem to themselves in society. So we would have a policy in place that everybody coming back was at least had an offer to be employed, because it's a special population to us. I wrote a book about it. I feel like the incarceration that we have suffered has not been because we're deviant, but because the federal government was less than forthcoming, less than honest, maybe even deviant, with organizations like COINTELPRO and things of that nature. And since they're only victims of someone else's ill will, we would treat them as though we were victims, which would to wrap our resources around them and help them in every way that that population could be helped. Not to mention the fact that one of my running mate, the city council, Ed Lucy Ingram, was also in that situation. He had to put his catering business, which does a large volume of business in Philadelphia because it was a hostile environment in Camden. He's coming back with the express purpose of working with the ones that have been on vacations, if you will, and making sure Camden is a friendly environment to those individuals and the small business itself.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Benson, how would you assist in dismantling the school to prison pipeline here in Camden?
Okay. Well, when I work with young men, I talk about power. And I talk about there's personal power and there's corporate power. Personal power is having an expertise. That's why you go to school. My personal expertise is music and history. Your personal expertise might be education. But a personal expertise and a network, you have personal power. I always say that Michael Jackson had the greatest personal power in the world. But at the end of the day, he stepped into eternity on questionable circumstances. That Beatles catalog, that Sony catalog went back to somebody else. So personal power only goes so far. Group power is the most important thing, you know. So I would teach them about personal power and their responsibility for group power. And again, this is not hypothetical, this is what we do, and it works like a charm. Our people get personal power and they go to the highest positions in the world, right here from Camden. I simply want to do that for the entire city, and it's not age restricted. We can start at 13, go all the way to 40, you see what I'm saying? And that's what we're hoping and praying that God allows us to do. It's time for us as a people to do miracles, and it's time for Camden in particular to do miracles. If you put it in your mind to do a miracle, guess what? You will do a miracle. If you put it in your mind that can't happen, he's too big, you know how much money he got, then you'll live that. But it all starts with how you think and what you think. I'm challenging Camden. Think big, think God, think life, and vote life.
Mr. Taylor?
I have to agree with Mr. Benson on that note alone, simply because I do know certain powers get you where you need to be. So I would have to agree with him on that.
Thank you. So I have, if he doesn't mind, Mr. Maldonado put a very interesting question. He's from South Camden.
Mm-hmm.
He has a son who is deaf. And he wants to know, with all the businesses coming into the city, how can you guarantee jobs for his son who is disabled and hearing impaired and all others? How could you guarantee, what is your strategy to help those who are disabled to seek and gain employment?
Which one first?
Just like there's businesses that's coming here with deals being made, we're going to go to these companies and we're going to make deals with these companies, let them know, look, we have people in our city who need gainful employment, who may have some type of mental or physical defect. So we need these people employed. So they have to employ these people. So we're going to go to them and see that they get employed.
Thank you.
My favorite mayors are Maynard Jackson of Atlanta, who made 300 black and brown millionaires in 8 years, and Harold Washington in Chicago, who changed the economic dynamic and set in place the first black president. I judge everything that happens with me if I were to be blessed by this community to be your leader. I judge everything by those guys. My success would literally be dependent on how many and what percentage of our people didn't achieve survival or success, but how many achieved great success. And that includes those who have various handicaps and whatever issues. The better we would be as administration. Our administration is tied to the employment and the quality of life for the people in the city. I know just if you get a chance to take these 12 points, these 12 points take no money, and it would change the tenor of this city overnight. So we would do everything we could if we had to hire them ourselves. Well, we would make sure that everybody in this city that wanted a good job had a good job.
Thank you. This is a 30-second question.
Okay, I'll try to keep it 30 seconds.
30 seconds
30
to
seconds,
answer.
all right.
It's very simple. What is your definition of a fighter for the people?
Who's first?
You.
My definition of a fighter for the people is someone who put themselves out there. They're not worried about losing. They're not worried about getting embarrassed. They're not worried about anything but their love for the people. They will model what a man or a woman looks like at all costs because we come from that historically. Historically, we've always had champions. And so it's a champion who's not worried about the outcome. He goes out and goes hard for the people. And that's what I'm trying to do for my city and for my people.
Taylor?
You said 30 seconds?
30.
You want me to start 20 from now? Jerome Tell, cut and drop. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So, if the machine wins again, how and will you continue to help Camdenites and businesses?
Who's first?
Taylor.
First of all, we're not looking for the machine to win. That's why we're up here. On that note, there's nothing else to be said. There's a new day in Camden, and the new day starts with Jerome Tell.
Thank you.
If the machine wins, I'm not going anywhere. I will pick my heart off the floor. And listen, I'll be honest with you, I don't care who wins. I just don't want the machine to win. You know, because anybody else can be negotiating. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just being 100% real. You know, if they win, I understand that's a distinct possibility. In racing, they call it the inside track. We're going to be here. This is a lifetime mission, you see. But I still want my city to pin that guy to the backboard. He's going up for a dunk. Just jam his butt up there and fool and shock the world, as Muhammad Ali used to say. I want Camden to shock the world. I know it's in us. I want us to do it. I'm challenging us to do it. If this 100 people, and guess what? Half of y'all are on this list. Simply text your 100 people. You ain't got to go outside your house. While you're in the bathroom, text your 100 people. We win this. And we make the next history book I write. I got to write about us. I want to do this. This is living, y'all. When you see challenges that people say you can't do, and you go out and you do it, that's life. Don't be cowering about what can and can't happen. You don't know, see what God will do. But put God in a position to bless you by going after something great. This is great. Imagine this. We're the dark horses. We got 1/2 of 1%, 2 weeks out. All of a sudden, the election comes and what? Camden did what? Let's do it, y'all. Nothing's stopping us. They cannot stop us. They cannot stop us. Everybody here should be saying to themselves, why are they there? How many of us in it? Why are they there? That's what I say. Why are they there? A friend of mine wrote a song. He said, wake up, everybody, no more sleeping. Come on, y'all. They have no business being there. We could put them out. We could fire them. And if you don't fire them, you get what you got. We can fire them. We got 2 weeks to fire them. I want to fire them. Your help, I'm out here. With your help, we fire them. And trust me, I cannot explain to you how good you'll feel when you wake up in the morning and say, we fired them.
Okay. Mr. Benson, you know what Camden and how much is Camden's structural deficit?
If my memory serves me correctly, and we have people in the house that can help me with that, I think that we have a budget around 180 million and we put in like 30 million, so we got a structural deficit of 150 million if that's in the ballpark. Yes, that's pretty much in the ballpark. I would have got dirty looks from some people in the
That's
audience.
what the person asked the
Yes.
question. I'm just
Okay,
asking.
yeah. So that's probably in the ballpark, but I didn't get the dirty looks. So what about it? We got 100. So, huh? Oh, and let me just add this to it. I read the Constitution a couple times, y'all. And when I was reading, I didn't see nothing in there that said, you know, you have the right to vote unless your city has a deficit. Then that right to vote comes away. Ain't nothing in the Constitution that says that. So when we don't vote for our school board, and they tell us because we have a structural deficit, that's unconstitutional. Mm-hmm. You want to know another word for unconstitutional? Illegal. Yep. But it won't be illegal until a federal judge claims it illegal. But we have to take it to the federal judge. That's one of the first things I'll do. Mm-hmm. So we have $150 million federal deficit. So what? The nation has a deficit. So what? It really should mean nothing other than we get our people working, the property values goes up, people could buy homes and pay taxes on them, and we'll close that structural deficit.
That money goes into our communities to get our people what they need. Because our people need a lot in this city. And that money is our money, the city's money. So it's put in areas where it's needed. And I say it's needed in our communities.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mr. Taylor, and then Mr. Benson. As mayor, how would you strategize to promote economic development and home ownership amongst the millennials?
Entrepreneurship and educating for first-time homeowners, and that's about it.
Thank you. Mr. Benson?
Yeah, well, the same strategy we're talking about. Our goal is 100% employment, which we have the resources to do. We just don't have the will to do it right now. And in that 100% employment, obviously the millennials are included. And I think the first point of my 12-point plan is to match suitable vacant property with people who are experiencing any kind of difficulty in that. So millennials, elderly, just starting out, it doesn't matter. We plan on taking the properties that we have in our inventory and putting them with people who will care for them. Again, the properties are there. The concern isn't. I don't know if my people know in the city, but right now we're not the focus of the Commonwealth. In other words, government is simply control of the resources. The resources by design are supposed to go to the people. But right now, the resources are not going to the people. The resources are going to those that are holding the resources. We have to fix that. So once the resources go to the people, millennials will work, they'll get homes, and Camden will be not only a healthy city, but a model city.
Thank you. Okay. How would you go, Mr. Benson?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. How would you go about creating unity amongst the community leaders in the city?
I would meet with them one-on-one first and ask them if they could be honest, what it is that they really want. And if it was a job, since they're community leaders and since we have jobs, I would make sure they got a job, if that's what they really want. If they wanted to see some type of program, I would see it. Our administration would have a default mode of yes. Unless there was a compelling reason for us to say no, right? We would always say yes, unless there was some compelling interest. Now, I think Camden suffers what you call starving child syndrome. So starving child syndrome is these kids been in this house for 3 days, nobody ate. And somebody walked in there with a pizza, you can forget decorum. They're gonna knock each other down trying to get their slice of pizza before it runs out. I think a lot of that is what's happening with our beautiful leaders in Camden, who would normally, if they knew they were taken care of, wouldn't be so desperate. So I would see to it that since they were leaders, since they were doing the work, since they, quite frankly, since most of them have earned respect and money and jobs, I would see to it that they got it. Right now, again, I'm gonna keep restating, we have the resources. Now, they just don't go to us because we're not unified. So once we unify, now the resources come to us. And then I would say, okay, as a condition for doing that, let's lay down the hatchet. Go work with your other brother that you might have had a difficulty with, since now none of us are starving, since we're now comfortable. Let's see to it that our present is solid, and let's see to it that our future is solid. So I think we find the areas that we could work on together, and I think once the desperation was gone, which has been purposefully started in Camden, they purposely make people desperate. Once that's gone, I think we'll unify naturally, because believe it or not, we do unify naturally when there's no tension in our life and in our cycles. We tend to unify anyway. So I would just do that.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Taylor?
That's real easy. Because if you're a real leader, you're going to accept people who wants the same thing as you do. And they realize this is our city and we're all in this together. I'm gonna give you a perfect example. My brother Gary Frazier, that's a leader. That brother opens up his home to anybody and everybody that wants to talk to him, that has the same passion that he has. So there it is, right there.
Thank you. So this question is for both of you, and it's two questions that are similar. And it says, you both have similar community-based ideas. Did you ever meet privately to unite to support one opposition candidate?
Who's heard?
Taylor?
We've talked. Yeah, we've talked, and I've met Mr. Benson prior to the election on a couple different occasions. And as you see, we're both sitting here, so you know we have the same idea. And that says everything right there.
Thank you. Mr. Benson?
Yes, certainly we talked, you know. I was hoping he would come to our slate, we'd have a full slate, not because I think he'd be a great mayor, I'm sure he would be, but because we had a full slate, we were hoping he would come. But when he didn't, I respected his right, you know, to do what he feels in his heart, and I wish him all the best. But we're going to work together on one level or another. I just hope one of us becomes the mayor, and of course that's not my choice, that's not his choice, that's your choice, you know. And I was telling people that talked to me, I said, well, really, Camden, how much we wanted. I ran because I didn't want to say that there was nobody with a full slate to fight against this machine. I was in a way trying to protect my own city's reputation, that we were never so beaten that we didn't always put up somebody to fight, and somebody legitimate. Because my background is what it is. I'm bringing somebody from the White House. You know, we're bringing a serious slate up in here. Business people and social workers. If you're really disappointed, and I know that I am, with what's going on, and you really know we could do better, it's like, this is a no-brainer. Let's just do it, y'all. Let's just do something great. We still have greatness in us. Let's reach in it, let's get it, let's grab it, let's do it, and let's shock the world. Let's have a better life for our people. And again, I'll talk to anybody offline, anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, a person, one or 1,000. It really doesn't matter. We can do this, you guys. Don't let anybody lie to you and tell you that we can't. Oh, yes, we can. So, but yeah, being a good brother has talked, and regardless of what happens, we're going to continue to talk in the future.
Okay. So, Mr. Benson, this is just for you. It says that you're not on the ballot. Traditionally, there's a ballot, there's names. How can the people vote for you if you're not on the ballot? I mean, you probably shared this.
Yeah, but
what is your strategy?
Okay, again, we have to approach politics different from the majority community. The majority community does not have a third of their men in slavery, and they never will. The majority of their people don't get shot and abused by cops. So politics for us is a different game. Unless politics becomes very serious to us, that the community leaders know who we're going to vote for, In other words, we should be able to write in as a matter of course. Matter of fact, there's so many advantages to having a write-in candidate as opposed to having some machine tell us what to vote for, that we need to consider this as a strategy going forward. Well, for one thing, there's no reporting on who donates to, and that keeps you legal no matter what you're doing. But there's a lot of other strategies. This will let the rest of the United States know that you have no control over us. We have unified as a people. We have come together and we put in that office who we want to put in that office. So while I wanted to wait and see what happened in the primary, and when our people didn't win the primary, I said, okay, I'm going to run. There's a part of me that's also intrigued by our opportunity to do something magnificent. We don't have to be mediocre. We don't have to do things the way people told us all the time. So my strategy is to get that 100 people, like Brother Hornsby. Brother Hornsby calls this 5,000 people. If he calls 10% of them and says, yo, look at this website, I mean, you don't just text it to them. I guarantee you 80% of them are going to vote this direction, because, not because they love me, but because they're so dissatisfied with the foolishness that's been going on for the last 30 years. So if they do that, we win this thing going away, and we prove to the world who we really are, which is what I'm thinking my city's going to do. To me, this city is just one more young brother that we was talking to saying, listen, to be great, you got to do something great. Start the mail-in ballot. What we're going to do on our website next Monday, we're going to have somebody doing a mail-in ballot step by step. And when I tell you it's fun, I'm not lying. It's fun. When you feel like write my own names in there, they're not telling me who to write in here. And we need to think about that, because we need to think about politics different for the rest of our natural lives. And our generation and our generation's generation need to think about politics different. For us, it's life and death. For them, it could be an exercise. Slavery was policy. Jim Crow was policy. Today's mass incarceration is policy. What's the root word of policy? Politics. Anybody anybody black or Hispanic talk about I don't get into politics has no idea. The KKK was started in 1865 in Pulaski, Tennessee, for the sole purpose of keeping Negroes out of politics. When we don't get into politics on a high level, we become associate members of the KKK. And that's word, that's real talk. So we got to get into this game a lot different than the beginning, and that's how we've been bamboozled and misled and run amok. But it's time to come to some truth, y'all, and let's do it. I believe in you. You believe in yourself? If you do, let's do this.
Good stuff. Thank you. So this question is for you both. Mr. Taylor, I'll let you start. If you could teach the young people one important thing about politics in this city, what would you teach them?
They have the right to vote. Because for some reason, a lot of the young has been told, especially ones that may have a record or something old or something, as long as it's not pending, they good. But they have been told that they can't vote. So my message to them, you have the right to vote and you can vote.
Well, it's not a matter of what I would tell them. It's a matter of what I do tell them. I tell them you cannot be a man, when I'm speaking for young boys, same goes for women though. You cannot be a man and you only trade in childish issues. If all you want to talk about is what girl you went out with, what's the new record, what's the new rap, what sports team, and you never deal with male issues of politics, economics, academics, and culture, you could be 50 years old with gray hair, you just be an old boy. But yet you could be 14 and deal with those man issues and be a man. So it's not what I will tell them, it's what I do tell them. And that's acronym called PEACE. We won't have peace until we go after peace. Political, economic, academic, and cultural excellence. That's what we're here for, y'all. And I tell them politics is the very first one. Because everything comes off of politics. Anybody talk about economics without talking politics is a fool. And guess what? The way it's supposed to work is you get your political house in order, your economic house comes right in back of it, then your academics teaches you about politics and how to be effective economically, and now you have a strong culture, and it's excellent. Political, economic, academic, cultural excellence, peace. And that's what I do teach them, and that's why we have a brother coming out of the White House to come back to Camden and help his city, because he loves his city too. But our city got to love him back.
Thank you. Mr. Benson and Mr. Taylor. What alignment do either of you have with the gubernatorial candidates for local control? If you don't have support for any of the two or three, who do you support and why?
In terms of what?
The gubernatorial governor.
Oh.
So is it Murphy, the Republicans, and or Kipdale? I think that's Green Party.
Me first?
Yes.
Phil Murphy. Because he's coming out of Wall Street. He doesn't need the machine's money, nor does he need their votes. I got a feeling he's going to be somewhat independent, and I think he'll work with our city the way a man of integrity will work with our city. There might be some issues we differ on, but the fact that he won't be owned like the outgoing governor is a net plus. And we get a person who's a representative of the people in that city hall to talk with somebody in the governor's office who's not bought, paid for, and owned like the previous person was. I think Camden will be in position to do some remarkable things relatively quickly. So Phil Murphy, what I didn't think about it.
Thank you. Mr. Taylor?
Honestly, I haven't thought about that.
Okay. Thank you. Both of you. Mr. Taylor, if elected, you need the city council to get your plans passed. How would you get a machine ran council to pass your plans being a weak mayor?
Great question. She must have wrote
Who first?
Well,
Mr. Taylor?
I'm not going to be that guy that's just going to take no for an answer. That's not my makeup. So until we come to an agreement that this thing is going to get done, we will constantly be going back and forth until I oppose my will. And it will get done. Because I'm not going to take no for an answer. Especially if I know it's going to benefit my city, our city.
Thank you.
Well, I've already had a council member tell me that if we won, they would vote with us. So I'll leave it at that. So we have a full slate. We have 3 council members that were coming in. We'd only need 1 more. And I already had one tell me that if we won, they would vote with us. So that takes care of itself. We know we would have the 4 votes. We had a predominance on council, and we had the mayor's chair, and Camden would have a new day. Let's do something great, y'all. I keep telling you, let's do something great. You can't think small. Let's do something great, y'all. You know, come on, y'all. And it feels good when you do something great. Let's do something great. This cowering business, that's not who we are. In case you thought it was, that's not who we are. Read the history. Matter of fact, I got a history book I'll give you. That's not who we are. We have always done stuff great. This will just be one more thing. So we have the council numbers, so that's not an issue with us.
Okay. Thank you. So I believe this is from a young person, and I thank you. How will you ensure that the colleges of the city, Rowan, Rutgers, and Camden County College, benefit the entire city versus just the front yard? Mr. Benson first, and then Mr. Taylor.
You know, I teach the young people that I work with that, you know, you got to start life out with anything can be negotiated. And you'd be surprised just what a conversation and negotiation does with lay people, let alone the mayor and the city council. I really think that would be, if they're not doing it already, the implication of the question clearly is that they're not. We would simply have some conversations with some key people, and I assure you, that's one of the easier things we'd be able to accomplish, because that's what they're there for. They wouldn't want any problems with City Hall. We don't want any problems with them. If all they have to do is be more accommodating to our people, that's literally why they're here, and they are in our city. So that's kind of a no-brainer. That would be a conversation and negotiation, and we would even include the young people who are interested on those conversations and negotiations, just to show them how it's done, so they can take the reins a couple years from now and do it themselves.
It would be simple. Like Mr. Benson said, agreements. We will come to agreements. I'm the mayor. This is my city. This is our city. You're in our city. So you need to furnish our people. And this is what you need to do. And I'm not going to take no for an answer. I'm not going to sit down on anything. So the deal will be made.
Okay. Ladies, it's for both of you gentlemen, starting with you, Mr. Taylor. A lot of your plans seem geared towards helping the males more than the females. How will you ensure that our women do not feel left out, Mr. Taylor?
Well, first of all, to the ladies, don't ever think you'll be left out. I have a wife out there. My wife won't get left out. So you as a black woman or a Hispanic woman, and most importantly, a resident of Camden, would never get left out. And I will see to it. I will personally walk with you wherever you want to go and get whatever you need done. And anybody that knows me, no, I'm not that guy that's just going to take no for an answer. I'm not that guy that's just going to lay down. I'm going to fight for our city, and I'm going to fight for you.
How are you?
What's happening?
Good to see you.
Sorry, guys, I had a school function with my son.
Okay. So our third candidate has joined us. This is Mr. Tirson Lamberty.
Yes,
Welcome,
ma'am.
Mr. Lamberty. Thank you.
Thank you.
I apologize. Tirson. Thank you. Tirson Lamberty. Thank you. We'll be with you right for one moment.
Not a problem.
Give your top with some water.
Yes, please. I couldn't find this place for the life of me.
So we need to finish answering the questions. Mr. Taylor has answered that for the ladies. Now I will allow Mr. Benson at this time to address that question.
Okay, as I sit on the stage and look outside, I see about 7 remarkable young ladies who are already doing the work. They're just not supported. Now, mind you, I'm gonna go back to that, beat that same drum. The resources are there. They just don't go to who it's supposed to go to. So I can see even in this room, all of them would be supported financially and with facilities and whatever else they need, staff, whatever, again, the legal and the accounting. So obviously, we're going nowhere that, you know, the ladies and the women don't go with us. So it's not as virtually possible, it's absolutely impossible. So obviously I can't prioritize that enough, that every woman and girl with a strong program, our default mode is yes, unless we can give you and find a compelling reason to say no. Every program will be supported, every idea will be supported, because there are really not a lot of reasons to say no. If people come in with the same idea, we might compel them to work together, so we're not having 50 people doing 50 different things separately. We'd have to squash their ego down a little bit and come together, but it would be powerful, and we would support everywhere we can support. And like I said, even in this audience here, I see several people that are doing magnificent work that are simply not supported. We would just use the resources that are going outside the city, putting them where they belong, inside the city, and it would be a great city. And the ladies would be more than happy, and if they weren't come to my office, trust me, I would get right on it, anything that could be done.
Thank you. So at this time, Mr. Tirson,
Yes.
if you could just share your background, right? And just share with us why are you running for mayor, and then we'll go through some other questions that were already answered by our previous candidates.
Okay. Well, I'm 46 years old. Raised in Camden. Went to Camden schools, Sumner School, Morgan Village, got my GED, went to Middlesex County College, done some schooling in Princeton University for law. When I finished that, I took my civil service test, was in the police academy. There, while I was there, somebody stole my identity, so I had to learn trades. Because I couldn't even get a job anywhere, not even McDonald's. Didn't keep me down, I just kept going and going. And for the past 30 years, I've just been contracting and trying to get the city to help me clear up my name and everything, which is dead and it's like talking to a brick wall. I basically help everybody in the city. It's an oppressed city, so whatever I can do to help anybody, I'm there. I have 4 kids. One just graduated valedictorian from Rutgers University. Yeah. He's headed to Los Angeles. I'm going to miss him.
UCLA?
Excuse me?
UCLA?
No, he's just going to work out there. He's a great singer, so he's pursuing that. Other than that, I'm basically a humble guy. Stay home. 4 granddaughters, beautiful granddaughters. And that's the story of my life, basically. And the reason I'm running is because the city's going nowhere. The city's going nowhere for us anyway. I seen somebody get eminent domain, and it's so sad. It's so sad. And these schools coming up, that's a strategy to me. These schools, there's not enough kids for these schools, and these schools popping up, this tax is going to sneak up on everybody. Everybody. I'm kind of sad as far as Camden High. I wish it would stay, but I would fight for it to stay. But unfortunately, they're trying to put 4 high schools there. I can't imagine what the taxes are going to be like in that area. We're just being ousted. And I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of it. I can't believe there's a certain party on the ticket now that messed up in Camden. They shipped him to Trenton, and he used this office over there for something bad, and they kicked him out of there. They brought him back. Now he's back on the ticket. I mean, it's ridiculous. Our city's a joke. It's a joke. I mean, I have a friend in Germany that asked me, he says, what's going on in America with Trump? I'm telling her, like, I'm worried about Camden. It's a joke in Camden. Everything that's coming up, we're not getting any part of this. We're being ousted. That's why I'm running. Basically it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So this question will be for you all. I'll give you a second. Okay? And I will start with Mr. Taylor. How will the Camden City Public Schools benefit from you becoming mayor?
Camden City Public Schools will always be in existence with me becoming mayor. I will fight for them to make sure that they stayed in our city and to continue educating our kids and our grandkids.
Thank you. Mr. Benson?
Well, charter schools could deny creaming all they want to, but I know that's what they do. Creaming is when you take any problem child and throw them out. So naturally, charter schools might show a more positive outcome because any problems are simply banished back to the public schools. Unfortunately, public schools don't have that option. So what we would do is, again, looking even just at the people that are in here, there are resources in here that if they were to wrap around the public schools and make it so the public schools didn't have as many social problems to deal with, and in other words, maybe the children or the youth that needed extra attention got the extra attention from wraparound services, then the teachers in public schools could concentrate on teaching, and the schools would improve immeasurably. So that's one thing, that's a practical thing. Also, we would simply offer inspiration by telling them about people like Dr. Kamal Khan in Rutgers, who has graduated more Black and Hispanic doctors than anyone except Howard University, how he's looking for people from Camden. Or we'll tell them about Victor Lawrence, Dr. Victor Lawrence at Stevens Institute, how he's looking, this is the top engineering school in the world, how he's looking for people from Camden. And we will let them know that we have their back. We will go on trips with them. We will inspire them to where all of our youth will be doing great things, not just a few that can get some extra mentoring, but we want the entire city, because we know the entire city is great. Let me say this real quick. I've been blessed. I got 24 gold albums and 2 Grammy Awards and many, many awards. But you would know what prepared me to do that? Camden. I learned everything I knew about music playing with these beasts in Camden. I had no idea how good we were until we went out into the world. And we were at the top level everywhere we went. It doesn't matter what city in America or what city overseas we went to. Camden had us prepared because Camden has always been a national achiever in not only sports and music, but also in business. I'll say this and I'll be quiet. The first person I knew that went to Harvard Law School, fully paid, and graduated with a brother named Madison King, graduated with me. He went to Harvard Law and graduated 7 years before Barack Obama. So Barack was late to the party. Camden was there, and we keep doing these remarkable things, but they keep that a secret from us. So our youth would be so inspired, they would be running through brick walls. They would be the CEOs of Exxon. You see what I'm saying? Because they would learn to dream big, and then the ones that need extra attention, it's our pleasure to give them the extra attention. That's what we do. So the public school would benefit, our city would benefit, and hopefully our people the world over would benefit.
Thank you. Mr. Lamberty?
Yeah, I would instill the extracurriculum activities after school and cut down the classrooms, like as far as how many kids are in the classroom. These teachers don't have enough focus for all these kids. A lot of them are problem child, so I'm bringing mentor programs like Big Brothers, Big Sisters, Boys and Girls Club, make it affordable. These kids, they just feel like after school there's no hope, there's nothing. So I would instill all of that with the public schools.
Okay, thank you.
Good point. Definitely keep the schools open, let them have extracurricular activity up until 9, 10 o'clock at night.
I agree.
Okay, so Mr. Benson, the next question is Mr. Lamberty and then Mr. Taylor. So as mayor, there's a high population of homelessness. What is your strategy for homelessness? And how will we try to curb that condition?
Who first?
Mr. Benson?
Well,
Then Mr. Lamberty and then Mr. Taylor.
you have several different homeless populations. The first thing I would do, the homeless that were not from Camden, that did not still roots in Camden, they would be out of Camden. That's number one. Second thing, the ones that were actually from Camden, again, the first point, if you get a chance to check this out, the very first point is we would take the existing housing stock and put people in business by rehabbing them, and after rehab, a lot of them would go to rehabilitate the homeless people themselves, you see. And we would see to it that they got the psychological and physical help and attention that they needed, and that would be a priority to us. Again, we have the resources, we just don't have the focus. And until you guys and us come together and make them have the focus, they're not going to have the focus. Like Martin Luther King says, change doesn't roll in on the wheels of inevitability. We have to get up, we have to work, and we have to demand. Power concedes nothing without a demand. We can demand that just by doing a mail-in ballot. Let's demand it, y'all. Come on, we can do it.
Thank you. Mr. Lamberty?
Number one is I would try my best to get a coalition to try to sue this FDA and the makers of these opioids, because that's our biggest problem right now. That's our biggest problem with these homelessness, the drugs and everything. It's just so much. I would try to get them to transition into working and schooling instead of prosecuting them. I mean, it's like said, it's most of these people aren't even from here. It's sad that they dump everything here, and now they're going to put it on. The methadone clinic is going to be on 6th and Atlantic, I believe. I'm not even sure about that. But I mean, it's still in our city. The blight is in our city. With all these taxes coming into the city, they're still dumping stuff here, and it becomes our problem, not so much the politicians, because they turn in a blind eye. I would step up to the plate and try to get these people help in transition.
Thank you. Mr. Taylor?
Going back on Mr. Benson, I feel the same as he. We have to separate those who are dumped into our city, eliminate them, and focus on our people that's in our city. We need to accommodate them. They have issues, drugs, mental illnesses. So we have to figure out how we can separate and accommodate. And that's what I would do as mayor.
Can I mention something else? Another thing is, with all these companies coming in, homelessness, it's a problem because there's no jobs. You have these little businesses, the bodegas and everything, they're paying their taxes and they have their family members working and even people from the neighborhood. Why are these companies getting these tax breaks and not hiring the city people from our city? That's another strategy that they're doing. I've seen them meet a quota. It's so funny. I've seen somebody from City Hall meet a quota by going right downtown, getting people over there to apply, knowing that their urine is dirty and their background isn't coming back. So they met the quota as far as getting the people, but they just didn't qualify.
Right.
So that's a whole different issue. I will get these companies to definitely hire city residents and not the entry-level jobs.
Thank you. Start with you, Mr. Lamberty, and then Mr. Taylor, and then Mr. Benson. As you come from Philadelphia, you see the front yard. Some may stop there and go a little further. How or what will you put in place to ensure that they visit and support Camden's backyard?
Number one is I would try to bring back another baseball team. That's a very good thing. I used to love going there all the time, taking my kid, and we had some German volunteers. Used to love going there. And bring a carnival back every now and then, and do stuff in the city to show them that, you know, it's a friendly atmosphere in Camden. It's a friendly atmosphere. That's what I would try to make it, a more family-friendly atmosphere near the waterfront and all of that.
Thank you. Mr. Taylor?
We have to figure out what to bring into the city that's going to attract people. That's the key to it all. What's going to attract people to come and stay? That's what we need to figure out.
Thank you. Mr. Benson?
Well, I think I got a pretty good beat on what attracts people: music and food. So if they can feel like they're gonna get some really good soul music, and it's safe and there's good food, the county in Philadelphia, if you look at my website, the vision for us is we want to make Camden an arts destination for people from New York to come down to Camden, for people from DC to come up to Camden. We have historically we have the first record company of all time. Imagine that. There would be no Michael Jackson or Beyonce if there was no Camden making Victor records. You see what I'm saying? And we got the #1 rock venue, which is the BB&T Center. But we'll move it into Centerville. But we'll have a food festival, an expose, and an arts festival. We'll invite the county and Philadelphia, and we invite them, they'll come. We invite them, we advertise it, they'll come. And we'll have a ball, because that's how we do it. This depression that we're feeling is not natural, it's not us. I don't mind telling you, I came up in the 50s and the 60s, and I remember them vividly. This was a swinging town with clubs all over the place. Everybody was happy, it was just a good vibe. I know what it felt like, I know how we're there, and guess what? I know how they got us out of there too. But I know how to get back. So that's what we'll do. Music and food, we'll bring them back. We will make Camden a vibrant city, a destination city all over the United States.
Thank you. So I will start now with Mr. Lamberty, Mr. Benson, and Mr. Taylor.
Ms. Lozada,
Yes.
it might, anytime your own son walks out on you, it might be getting late. So I'll stay here as long as you want me to, but I'm just saying.
No, I'm saying this because we actually started at like 6:15, so you're looking at about an hour and a half.
Yeah, whatever.
So I'm looking at about 10 more minutes.
Whatever you
Fair
like.
enough?
Whatever you like.
Fair enough?
Whatever you like.
But I see some people who are probably just coming in.
Okay.
So I think all voices.
All right, no problem. I'll roll with you.
How about that?
Okay.
In all fairness.
All right.
Okay? So I'll go do two more. I see two more people writing
All right,
questions.
listen,
I will start with
seriously.
one, we'll break for a moment, and then
Yeah.
we'll resume with those,
Yeah, whatever
okay?
you want.
So, knowing the parts of the city of Camden will be moving a methadone clinic and transportation to other side of Broadway Center be beneficial or would it hurt the city? Which one is it?
Any way you see it, it's hurting the city, because the blight is still going to be here. They're just moving it to another section and make the other sections bad, and it's unfortunate. I think it should just be ousted. Number one is I see what goes on at that methadone clinic. They stand around in front of the city hall selling their methadone and selling drugs out there. It's just a blight. I mean, it's just blight. Unless there's a police officer there or a few police officers there, no matter where you put it in the city, it's going to be a blight. It's not conducted right. It's not ran right at all.
Life happens, and people have problems, people have issues that need to be addressed, and we should certainly address them. But I don't think that they should be out in the open. They should be tucked away where they have security, and it could be a clinic that's for sick people. And I don't know if it's the best idea to have it right in the middle of downtown. So I'm going to leave it at that.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor.
My take on it is it's moving it from one place to another, and the same issues are going to be standing. They're just moving it from in front of City Hall because City Hall is there. They're getting tired of looking at what's there. So they're going to move it to another part of the city. Okay, let the other part of the city have it. And that's basically what it comes down to. They're tired of what's going on there, so they're just moving another part. We have to figure out what's going to be next. My whole take of this thing, move to Lakeland. Lakeland has plenty of room down there. And from what I understand, Lakeland is closed. So move the methadone clinic out of our city, like Lakeland has. There's plenty of room down there. Why does it have to be here anyway? That's just some more mess that's getting dumped in our city. So these are some of the things we really need to pay attention to. Anything and everything gets dumped right in Camden. No other municipality wants it, so we get stuck with it. My take, send it to Lakeland.
And I would also add, Carmen, that one of the biggest problems with it is the fact they have no regard for the people's voices. The people have no input in what they do. And I think we as a people need to stop that. If they don't have any regard for what we're saying, we need to say something to them on November 7th that they understand. Let's fire them because they don't have any regard.
So while on that same question, this will also align with this next question. How will you ensure equality amongst the residents within the city? Mr. Taylor, Mr. Lamberty, and Mr. Benson.
I personally go to every resident or every neighborhood, get all the residents together and find out what exactly is it that they need and work on getting it. Because someone has to stand up and speak for the people in our city. Someone has to take leadership for the people in our city. As mayor, that's what I propose to do. Every neighborhood in the city of Camden will have a visit from me, and each and every person will have a say-so what's needed in their community, what they need personally, and I will work on getting it.
Thank you. Mr. Lamberty?
I would have an open door policy. I would have people downtown basically doing their jobs, like listening to the constituents and to the residents and all the problems that they have. And at least twice a month, I would meet with the residents in the town meeting and figure out what we can do from there. That's basically it, because if we're not getting their voices over there, they're going there. They're just not listening. I go to city council meeting and it's funny. They don't even have a pen and paper. Like, our voice is not even heard. We're just heard, not acknowledged. And it's funny. They just do it just because they have to do it.
Thank you. Mr. Benson?
Okay, everybody saw how Barack Obama got elected and half America said around about, my life didn't change because he was elected. Well, I said to myself, that's never going to happen to me because our people understand from the door. If I were to be elected, it's not like, okay, you're going to sit back and watch me do all the work. No, we're going to come and fix these problems together. The leaders of the city have already been established, obviously have an open door policy. To the extent that in this 12-point platform, if you care to read it, number 10 and number 12 has to deal with the mayor's office interacting on a regular basis with the voice of the people, and the voice of the people setting policy, and the mayor's office executing policy. So it's 2 of the 12 points. 1/6 of my entire platform has to do with working with the people because, number one, only the people can solve these problems. Only thing we can do is help. So for us to be successful, you're going to have to help, or else no one will be successful. So that is governance 101. Politics is not just voting on election day, it's being involved in the political process on a day-to-day basis and having the wherewithal to do that. So you got that?
I did. So we have just a few moments before we'll close this forum up. Mr. Benson and I, we discussed to have another forum with hopes of having the rest of the candidates that are running, hopefully soon, because as we know, election day is around the corner. So I'm going to read just the last few questions, and if you can limit it to 1 minute, I'm going to time it, so that way we can stay in a good time frame, get people home, such as me.
Okay.
All right, so, is this the city of Camden that's ran by the state?
Is the city of Camden ran by the city, or is it still run by the state?
Gotcha. And how will you change the policies that are set in stone? For example, you guys are taking on the challenge of saving Camden High from a plan that's 6 years in the making. Mr. Benson, I'll let you do that in 1 minute. Mr. Lamberty, and then Mr. Taylor.
So what exactly is the question?
The question is the city of Camden still run by the state? Is it still state controlled? Yes, answer yes or no.
So, it's either yes or no. And then,
It's
so,
either yes or no.
Well,
and
elements of the city are state controlled. The Board of Education is still state controlled.
For example, the city is run by the state.
Mhm.
And I've seen, I don't know this gentleman in here, but I know that you guys advocate about saving Camden High.
Right.
But we already know those plans for changing Camden High are 6 years old.
so,
And it seems kind of late in the game to make that a part of the campaign when they're not going to change what is already.
yes, it's in stone.
I
It's
say-
it's in
I
stone.
say it's never too late.
Okay.
Never.
So the question is, what's in stone was written already, as he shares, in stone.
Well, I would say that as long as the building is up, I would still fight to keep the building. Number one, the building is an icon of the people. It's probably the most beloved and known icon in the city of Camden. And if we could get an arbiter, like a court, to take a look at the process and prove that it's not necessary to take that building down, I don't care if the plans are 50 years old. It's our city, not these outsiders. For starters, with the board being controlled, that means it's not controlled by the people. That means every decision they make is dubious and falls under question. You see what I'm saying? It's a questionable decision because it's not representation, and the foundation of the Constitution is representative government. It's consent of the governor. They don't have consent to do this. And you're talking about not taking down just a building, you're talking about taking down an icon. It's still there. We still have a court fight on it. It still has to be heard. We may lose, but we may win. So we're going to fight this because it's ours, and we understand it's ours, and it's not
The
there.
city, I meant to say this, the residents fought to save the Camden Police Department.
That's true.
But the process, and it was always in court.
Right. That's true.
And the residents lost.
That's true.
They probably won't tear down the front of Camden High because you're going to say that it's historic.
It is.
Just like they did leak downtown. They didn't tear down the front of the buildings. Because it's historic.
Mhm.
They tore down the back of the buildings.
Right.
And like I said, a lot of the things that are going on in the city
Right.
is set in stone.
Right.
Just like Trump is trying to change the policies of Obama. You just can't walk in and do it. So you have to have the people that are already in on your team. How are you going to get them on your team so that you can get your agenda across?
Well, my own particular reason.
So wait,
Go ahead.
wait, because that wasn't on the floor, we're going by
All right.
the
Good.
Oh,
good. I'm trying to go right offline.
So what we'll do is freeze that.
Right.
We're gonna meditate on that.
Right.
And we're gonna
All
ask
you
that
gotta
after.
do
We're
is
gonna-
meditate on it.
what-
Meditate on it.
exactly. Please meditate on that with all respect to those who played their parts prior to.
Mr. James, come in, please.
Larry, I'm sorry, Larry. Mr. Ray, okay? So we want to be respectful to those who have submitted their questions,
Yeah.
the time
No
question. and then we will go back and address, Mr. Gaines.
No
okay?
problem. Yeah.
So the last two questions, and you have less, like I said, in a minute and a half to answer each, okay? Mr. Taylor, Mr. Lamberty, then Mr. Benson. First question up. Second to last. Do you think it's more important for a mayor to be respectful, community figurehead, or just competent and skillful administrator?
All the above, the mayor has to be. In this city, has to be all the above, because we have people who are really beaten up by leaders that we've had here. So in order to get people's attention, you have to be respectful, you have to be attentive, and you have to show them that you are going to be the leader that they need. And this is what's going to make people comfortable with you. So that's what I would have to do as a mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Lamberty?
I agree with Mr. Taylor. All of the above. In this city, you have to be firm. Firm and right to the point. Get out there, reach out, be a part of the community. And us, well, I'm not sure about you, Mr. Benson, but Jerome and myself, we grew up in Centerville, so we interact with everything. Like, I just think back to Pat Freeman, Coach Pat. He showed us responsibility, respect, and everything. And my life revolves around what they taught me. That's the kind of mayor I would like to be.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Benson?
I was born in Centerville.
You were?
Yes.
That's a blessing.
But I grew up downtown.
I love
So I grew up downtown. Well, if I'm listening to the question correctly, it seems to me which one is most important to us, respectful. If I'm going to be accurate with words and just respect the question, when you said figurehead, that's what we have, okay? So we have a respectful figurehead. So obviously, I'm going to go with the latter, somebody who's effective. So guess what? If you're effective, the respect will come. So,
And this is the last question. Seeing as though a lot of our residents, it's like a seesaw in ages, how do you propose that we bridge the large social gap between the young, our young people 14 to 21, and our elders 65 and up within our city?
who goes first?
Me.
Okay.
I say, number one is give these parents jobs. The problem nowadays I see in our city is the parents are not working. The kids are the ones working. All these jobs coming in, they got the youth build instead of the parents. Parents can't afford it. And then morality, bring the churches out. No matter what belief you have them interact with our city and our youth. And bring back sports, like everything. We need to interact with our kids and give the parents the jobs, because these kids are not respecting their parents. They're bringing in the money.
Mr. Benson?
I certainly can't argue with that. Jobs, recreation, and I think we answered the question before, food and music. So that'll bring everybody together with no problem. That's easy.
It's unanimous. I have to go with these two gentlemen.
We should all run together, just all of us just together.
So, the question was,
So the question was,
how do you bridge the gap between the young people and the older people?
Well-
Is that like, that's not the same as doing like sports or anything like that? How do we?
Let me clarify that. You got to bring them together,
Right.
right? So and then you got to bring them together doing something that they both find fun. One of the things that we both find fun are music, food, and then of course some sporting events. But you just got to spend time together and you got to dialogue together. But before you dialogue together, you got to be together. So it's a process. It's not what happens with snap a finger if they're not used to doing it. Some young kids are already used to interfacing comfortably with older. Some elders are used to interfacing comfortably with young. So the ones that are not, we just have to bring them together. And once they come together, they'll start dialoguing. And first of all, it's natural that we are together. That this whole business that this divide is somehow unbridgeable is ridiculous, and it's not true, and it's very, very, very current. It's just this new generation, this, you know, we can get around that because we naturally come together anyway. So we just gotta put ourselves in a position where that natural love and affection and care for one another comes back. And we can do that relatively easy with a caring administration. Again, we have the resources, we just don't have the concern and the care for right here. Because they're so busy make sure the resources go to one individual. But this group can fire them. I'm gonna keep going back to that.
So would that be something like, so in order for them to bridge the gap, we would have to have like a festival?
Socials,
Or like
festivals,
would that be like once a year?
concerts,
Like churches and I grew up with recreation.
Yeah.
Back in, we used to have recreation and the carnivals
Yeah.
and all of that stuff. Like all of that, there is nothing here. There's not a family-friendly activity.
and that's intentional. That whole business of being no recreation is intentional.
I
It's
agree.
it's designed to do what it does.
Yep, to oust us.
So
You're not gonna have elders at recreation.
I wouldn't.
Okay.
We could talk about it offline, but yes, we could.
Alright.
So, but put it like this: that's easy. We've done it, and we'll just do it on a mass scale.
Yes.
We're already doing it on a small scale. We're just talking scale. We're not talking about the event. We do the event. We're just talking about let's make it big. You put us in office, and we'll make it big.
Yes.
And we'll show you how easy it is to do.
Food and
Not a problem at all. Easy. You're on.
So I thank everybody for coming.
I apologize, guys.
Okay. They have some questions for you, right?
You can send them.
So,
Look, I'm
there are